Anyway, all right,
Yep.
let's move on to our rest of our independent world. So again, I'll just kind of start with my predictions. I had Red Wave in 15th, which was probably my biggest miss. Obviously, Blue Knights made it in. So yeah,
I had Redline in
who was
15th.
16th? So close, very close
Yes,
to the Red Line group.
almost.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I actually did not watch uh, Blue Knights Inside. Sorry, guys. I did watch the video. Congrats on the performance. I was in the lot for like the first two. Uh, 14th place was Rhythmic Force. I had Vigilantes in 14th, so I kind of flip flopped those two.
So
I
I
think you
got that
nailed
one
those.
right. I had Rhythmic Force in 14th, and then I had Vigilantes in 13th. So I had
Yeah.
12, 13, 14 all correct.
Vigilantes, like outside, was probably one of the cleanest batteries I heard all weekend.
God, dude,
uh,
I mean, it was Paul Rennick
which was
indoor,
wild.
which was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny
I
to watch.
do I do think that the way that their drums were tuned did not play in their favor
No,
inside. Like
not
they
at
just
all.
it didn't quite cut. They were a little low, the quads were a little low, the snares were a little low. Like the voicing and the bounce and blend outside was fantastic. But when it came inside, it just I think they needed another crank on that bottom head
Yep.
and those quads need to come up a little bit. Inside, like the quad voicing can really bleed into the bass drum voicing pretty easily. Um, so yeah, but they were freaking drumming. Sounded great.
Yep.
Let's see here. 12th place was Cap City, and 11th place was Monarch. I had those two flip flop too. I think you hit those, didn't you?
I got Cap City correct in 12. I had Infinity in 11th, but that
Oh,
was
okay.
one of those that I got extremely wrong.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one too.
But I, again, went off the history of the group. They usually finish in that 11 to 7, 11 to 8 range, somewhere in there. So I was like, I haven't seen them. We'll just throw a dart at the dartboard and see what happens.
Yeah. Cap City show, super aggressive. The Mother show. Uh, it was an interesting reaction from the crowd at the end
Yeah,
when
the
they brought
ending
out the
they
little
put in
kid.
was an
I
interesting
felt like
choice.
I felt like I was watching. I don't know. Yeah, it was the blood and everything was
Us
wild. I was wondering. I was like, is this kid gonna be traumatized? But
us talking about it and kind of not having a way to find words of how we want to verbalize this, or like, is
just
kind of
gotta
how the
watch. Just
crowd
go find a
felt.
video. Just
Go
watch it.
watch Cap City Show. You'll see what we're talking about.
Um,
Interesting choice. I thought
but
they made changes over the last part of the season that helped them show design wise, opened the
yeah,
floor up a little bit.
same.
I actually thought they were playing not great in the lot, and I thought they played way better when they came in on the floor
Definitely.
on Saturday.
I honestly think that they should have definitely beat Pal, in my opinion, and I would even contemplate Monarch to a degree. Monarch played pretty well.
Yeah,
I just
Monarch's
I
show is what hurt them.
I just wanted so much more from them. I want you guys to just play some drums.
Yeah, because like you
I
said, they
wanted some
played really well.
sauce.
They
I
played well.
I feel like they didn't play above a forte level like the whole time, which is challenging and delicate, and I get it. But at the same time, I just want more. You
Yeah, yeah. I
just gotta give it to me.
I was a fan of Monarch's drumming, not a fan of their show. I thought it was kind of just a 5 out of 10 the whole time, like just kind of
Right.
started and then ended. Like there wasn't a
Right.
whole lot that piqued your interest or kept you engaged too much. And I found it very interesting, and I kind of agreed with this too, because they were in, and correct me if I'm wrong, they were in like ninth after semis. I
Um.
think they were. I think they got
I
ninth at semis, and they dropped 2 places to 11, behind
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Behind.
behind POW and GMU, I think. Yeah, because POW and
Yeah.
GMU
Yeah.
each moved up 1 place between semis and finals, and yeah, I think 11th is probably right. Maybe they should have been above POW just from a playing standpoint, because I thought they played better than POW did. I think POW's 10th place, 10th, 11th is probably right where. I mean, obviously, it was where I thought they were going to finish. I had them in 10th, and they finished in 10th. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So then so we kind of hit on the POW thing in 10th. GMU was ninth. Matrix was eighth. dude, Matrix had some rough balance things going on from where I was sitting.
Yeah.
So take this for granted. We were pretty close to the center actually, but
Yeah.
we weren't dead center.
We had good seats.
But like there were times where like the quads were intermingled with like the marimbas out on the floor, and you could like hear the quads being picked up from the marimba mics, and I was like, oof, that's not the best. So you're getting this like reverb. I do think that they used the lights and electronics really really well for like the spotlighting and just where to take your eye as a spectator or as a judge. And obviously that showed up on the visual effect caption.
Yeah,
They did really well.
They
were like third.
Yeah,
in
Matrix
visual
got third
effect.
in visual effects. So kudos for that.
Yeah, even won a sub caption for the whole show. So yeah, but they didn't play super great.
I thought they played better in the lot
on finals.
than they did inside.
Yeah, maybe some overhype or some adrenaline, some passion pouring through. But
Matrix always performs with a high level of energy. Like usually their shows require that, just based on the drill, based on the show themes. And maybe that got to them, but I thought that they played pretty well in the lot, and then I was kind of like, there was definitely a drop once they got on the move in the arena. In clarity.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
Didn't pick it up. All right, perfect. Never mind. Perfect. GMU, a team that we were pretty high on.
Yep.
Obviously, I had them in like 6th, but they finished 9th. That was probably my biggest miss.
Yeah,
of,
GMU
like,
and Infinity were my biggest miss for sure.
The show was very refreshing. I mean, it's definitely a different flavor than a lot of the other shows that we saw in finals. We talked about this too, and like I could see how you would either like it or not like it.
Yep, it's a love-hate kind of show.
Maybe there's some subjectivity too within the panel. Like if it was a different panel that just liked what they were doing more, they would have been a little bit higher.
Because
probably not 6th. If I had to redo it, I would not put them 6th again either. But
I probably would have switched. I would have had them beat Matrix, and then I maybe would have had them beat United, depending on who had the better show.
Right.
Like run, clarity-wise.
Right.
But
I would agree with that.
No, I mean, music effect is what killed them, right? They got...
ironically.
And I don't understand. Their whole show is music effect.
Through every judge, they were kind of like in the 9 to 10 range. So
on finals night?
On finals night. In prelims and semis, they like got hammered in music effect, which is really strange to me. It's kind of what the whole show is.
That's what I was referring to, because our friend Dean Hickman was sitting right next to us and he looked over and he goes, I don't know how music effect could have, like, the whole show is music effect. Like, it's all kinds of interesting musical moments, and like, I don't know. It was just weird. I don't get that, but.
Right, yeah. So, I guess that after George Mason and the Matrix, that would take us to the Infinity United, which I had United 8th. They finished 6th, so I was a little off. And I had Infinity 9th, and they finished 7th. Yeah, let's talk about this Infinity show.
Yeah,
so first of all,
I want to save Infinity for when we talk about the top 5. Let's do United next, and like before I get into that, or we move on to the next part or point here, the middle of the pack groups were all very good in my opinion. Like at their tier, like the A tier, or top 5 being S tier of all the indoor groups, but. This is where I screwed up the most. In my predictions. Like, I definitely was too high on GMU. Just seeing other groups, seeing Infinity, seeing United, and that's no slight to them. It's just what we'd seen up to that point. And I liked a lot of the groups. Like 10 through 6 has gotten so good. Like you're watching the drumming and just going, "Geez, how?" I mean. How does a judge differentiate and whatever? All right, enough rambling. United, their show was my least favorite out of the GMU.
I like the way they play.
Yes, I love the way they drum.
I don't know. It had some weird moments. Like at one point, I didn't know what was happening, and then like a bunch of people clapped, and I was like, "Wait, did I miss something?"
Yeah, I didn't.
I couldn't tell if it was like on the video boards or like did I miss somebody doing something. I was like, "What is going on right now?"
Yeah, I love the way they drum. Aggressive. Always been an aggressive. They've always had an aggressive approach to the drum, which is
Beefy.
great. Beefy sound. They go for it. But I prefer GMU and Infinity's show to United's show personally, which is why if like I was ranking the groups after I saw them all live, this top 10 or 12, I probably would have had Infinity moved up, GMU in 8th, United in 9th, and then no, sorry. Yes. Matrix in 9th, United in 8th, whatever it was. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
United below GMU and Infinity. That's the moral of the story.
Right. Dude, Infinity. All right. I guess we're going to talk about the top
Yeah,
five.
let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about it.
Infinity had probably it was either my second or third favorite show in Independent World. And like when they came out and played, it was just like I don't know why, but their drums just spoke really well. Shout out to Tama. And they played their balls off. And I could, after it was done, I was just like, holy crap. They even, like, the show itself was great. The Continuum show, they did, like, the manipulation of time, like, forward and backwards, like, so well. They had that killer moment in the middle where they go from doing that section forward, pause, and then they have the sound effect, and it just rewinds, and they do everything they just did in reverse. It's super killer, and then they end the show completely backwards from when they started it. They played well. The show was awesome. When it was over, you mentioned our friend Dean. He was just like, man, I'm like really glad I saw that, but also bummed I'll never be able to experience that in person again. Like what we just did, it's never going to happen again. And it was just an awesome run through.
It was refreshing. The drumming, they played really well on the floor finals night too. Really well. So well that I think an argument could be made that I felt like they might have had a. You could make an argument. Been fifth. Yeah, you could make an argument for them to finish 5th over Mystique.
I thought they should have been 5th. And that's not a slight at Mystique really, but I just thought Infinity was better. And I do not think that Mystique had a great run. I mean,
no,
the guy fell, had a hell of a recovery. But it is what it is. That people lost their hats in the middle of the show. There were people getting hung up on chairs in the middle of the show. I didn't think they had a super phenomenal playing run through.
No.
I would have put Infinity over Mystique.
Yep.
100%.
I think you can definitely make an argument, having watched both of them at finals within less than an hour of each other. I wanted it to happen. I didn't think it would, but there's a little personal bias in there. But Infinity
I
show
don't
was
even
great.
think I'm being biased. I just felt like they were better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't it's not Mystique's best show they've ever made, obviously.
No, I don't think anyone would try to argue it's the best show they've ever had.
I don't know. I felt like they weren't going to be in the top 5. After I watched Mystique, I was like, man, I would put Infinity above that.
Yeah. Infinity show, it's just smart. It was just intelligent and just cool.
Yeah.
But X's show was cool, but it was a different kind of cool. Like Infinity's was like, oh, I see what you did there. Like that kind of cool.
Right. Top 4, RCC. The end is the beginning. I think I said that right.
I think 4th was appropriate. I think 4th was where they should have ended up.
Agreed. I mean, you watch the whole beginning of that show, and you're just like, yeah, the RCC visual program's still alive and well.
Yep.
Just move really well. Creative, artistic choreography, and just the way they use the floor. No clue what the show. I felt like the show was like an homage to like Jim Wonderlick and Sean Vega. Like kind of a throwback. There were some callback moments to some of their more iconic years and like things they'd done. I wasn't sure if the props were like a callback to that 2011 RCC show where they had the white poles and now they're pink. And they had like some of the ritual stuff from the '09 show, and then I mean there was a bunch of stuff in there that I was like, this feels a lot like this. So I'm not sure if that's kind of what it was, but that's the way I interpreted it at least. But I was a little surprised when I looked at the recap to see them like 3rd in the music box. The front ensemble was pretty jamming, and I've watched some of the videos since it came out of like the head cams or xylophone cams, and I'm just like, man, they are
some of that stuff was nuts.
From where we were sitting though, and some friends of ours in the very, very middle, like right next to the music judges. There's some dirt in there. There's some roles that I'm sure they would like to have back.
Yeah, X was fourth in hands, and I didn't see how you could make an argument to put X below RCC in hands. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
Same.
Yep, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one. And I'll leave it at that.
Yep. All right. Broken City.
Third. Yeah, Broken City.
Broken City had a show, so we kind of weren't haters of Broken City going into this weekend, just because like a lot of their shows have kind of been similar in their approach and design philosophy and stuff, but since they've existed. But this show is so much better, and I have such a higher opinion of it having watched it in person than just seeing some Flow marching streams.
It definitely hits different in person.
Oh, dude, you're on the edge of your seat the whole time. Like, because there's so many risks they take musically and environmentally that you're just, like, waiting for one of them to hit. And it's like, oh, my God, this is going to... Because you know the little drag at the end is coming. You know all this stuff, and you're just, like, waiting for it. And then when one of them does hit, it just makes you sit up in your chair like, oh, my God, that was good. Like, how did that happen?
They usually have a moment in their show or a rhythmic motif that they just like drive home, and at the end of the like every single phrase they like play that drag almost to the point to where they're at risk of overusing it. I would say, but yeah, it's just like on pins and needles the whole time. So
they swung for the fences, and I would say that. Having seen X's show, seen Pulse's show, seen Broken Cities all back to back, that the way they designed that show, if all of those moments or almost all of those crazy cold attacks and environmentally spread out phrases had all hit, or most of them had hit, they might have won. Like they just have one of those shows where if it clicks on that night, good luck beating them. Because the demand is through the roof.
For sure.
So it was cool. It was enjoyable to watch for a different reason than X was enjoyable, and then for a different reason than all three shows were cool. I thought the top three was the correct top three this year. They were all enjoyable shows for their own reasons.
Yeah, I agreed with the order.
Yep.
X was second. That show it gives you chills. It's just a phenomenal product. First of all, they for sure win the award for like best color palette or use of the uniform.
Yep.
Just the way it pops off the floor.
It looks so
and
good.
They can highlight it. Dude, the opening moment when like the snares come out and they kind of have the head turned and they're looking, and just the hello with the lyric and stuff. There's no way that those kids just did not feel like absolute badass, like, and the audience is cheering, just giving it up. And I don't think anyone does rock better than Rhythm X.
No, I would agree.
With all the Muse stuff, just with this, I mean, nobody else does rock better than Rhythm X. And I don't feel like that's an opinion. I feel like that's objective, but
yeah, it's like Broken City was enjoyable from the sitting on the edge of your seat element. X was enjoyable from an audience engagement, from a like just entertainment standpoint. Not only were they playing really well, but the show. So for me personally, when I'm watching drum corps indoor, when shows kind of just plod along and they're mids like the whole time, I'll sit there and just like I'll be aware of and thinking about, all right, is this the middle of the show? Is it almost over? How long am I? X's show starts, and then I never wondered how long the show had been going, or like, oh, we're almost to the end now. Like it just started, and then all of a sudden it was over, and I'm just like, it's done. I want more of that.
Yeah, kind of the opposite of like Broken City, where you're almost on pins and needles, like holding your breath.
Yeah, you're just having a good time.
To, like yell,
you're just like cheering. You're enjoying yourself.
They played great. I mean, they had a. I mean, there's a couple Tic Tac things. Nobody had like a ticklish show.
No one.
But they played really, really well. And just to kind of revisit from our predictions podcast, I know you had said this, Mike, talking about you could see a scenario where Pulse just plays good enough to win, because we both said on that we thought that Rhythm X had the show with the most legs,
And
that it had the better show.
the recap
And
establishes that. Like,
yeah, they won music effect, they won visual effect, they got 400s in those captions.
so that
Pulse
screams
just
to me.
did a cleaner show.
Yes, so that screams to me. X had the best show. Pulse just played themselves into a gold medal.
Yeah, played and moved.
So,
Just, not that they didn't. Obviously, they had to design a good enough show.
no, the show was
but
good.
I think everybody understands what we're saying. Yeah.
Yes, we're not saying Pulse's show was not good, because I thought I was not high on Pulse's show going into the weekend, and I was like, even this show's better in person. Like, drums in general are just better in person. I mean, you can feel the energy in the room. You're engaged the whole time. Like, you're in the moment versus like sitting in your bedroom or on your couch like watching the stream. But yeah, I think one of the scenarios that I pointed out in the predictions is exactly how it played out. X had the best show. Pulse just played and moved themselves from a clarity standpoint to a gold medal. And you look at the recap, and X was in fourth in hands in the music caption, which we kind of alluded to earlier. We don't really understand how that could be the case. But I'm not saying that from the standpoint of I think X should have won overall. I thought Pulse played better than anybody else.
If I was going to say anything, I feel like the gap was just not what I thought it would. Like, after Pulse finished, I was like, they won. Like, after we watched the show and it was done, we just all looked at each other like, yeah, they won.
Yeah, Pulse just won. It was the cleanest thing we heard all night. The show was good enough. And I think X probably should have been second in hands. I thought X was probably... Now, again, I can't.
I could even see a third.
Yeah.
If you are like, I mean, if you want to like balance out like front and battery, obviously we generate more towards like battery content. But I mean, taking into account like the front is a pretty significant portion of the music scores. I could see third, fifth in comp. Kind of wild to me.
Yep.
But that's just my opinion. That one's probably for sure. I would just say my opinion. Like, okay, but
yeah, yep.
Whatever.
So, I just like overall thoughts on the weekend. We've gone through all of our rehashing predictions and debriefing, and my favorite shows were X and Infinity, and then honestly, Broken Cities probably was like my third favorite show.
I would say I'm going to include, and I'll let you redo yours if you want, but I'm going to include Scholastic in there, and I would say that X and Avon had my two favorite shows, like overall two favorite shows, and then I would put Infinity, Broken City in like those next order.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking from an independent world standpoint. Yeah, Avon was definitely the best Scholastic show. Yeah, I think it's not even close, really, in my opinion. It was just awesome from start to finish. So many good moments. Infinity, super smart and creative. X, just entertaining as all hell, and they played their ass off. Broken City just engaged you. You're like, what's coming next? And I know one of my criticisms of Broken City is I want more of the sauce over the past few years. There are moments in that show where they're playing some stuff.
Yeah, they had some stuff. It was definitely more. There were definitely more content than I would say like what 19 or 18 had going on.
They threw down at various moments, and it was awesome. So much fun to watch. I had a great weekend, minus the sunburn, man. So many good groups, caught up with so many people I hadn't seen in a long time. Got to see if we were right or wrong. There were some new kids on the block, Rhythmic Floors, Vigilantes, making finals. I think the battle, honestly, like, it's more interesting to me to look at and talk about 6th place through 15th than the top 5. Because the top 5 are going to be great every year.
It's definitely more predictable.
Exactly. And it's like, it's Eric Shriver. We actually ended up sitting right in front of him in the tickets we bought, not even knowing ahead of time. And he was like, yeah, that 6 through 10, 11 range is just, they're all good, but they're all like an 85 out of 100. And it's like, who's going to have the better show on each night? And you're going to see placements move around. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit there, but
Yeah, I don't remember him saying those exact words, but
what he said was
sentiment.
the sentiment is what he conveyed. I'm paraphrasing in my own way here to elaborate a little bit, but I don't want to put words in someone's
Eric's gonna
mouth.
be like, "You put words in my mouth."
That's what I say. Halfway through that, I was like, Eric didn't say all this. I don't want to put words in his mouth. So I got to clarify. But no, I agree with that sentiment of like they're all like an 85 out of 100, and it's like who's gonna play better each night? We'll see.
Right.
So.
And yeah, the top 5 on most years are pretty undeniable. So guessing that is not like super pat
It's
myself
not
on the back. Like
it's not super difficult.
we basically just like all were like one off in our predictions.
Yep,
This year, like I said, Infinity. Kudos to you guys, like staff, members, techs, like everybody they killed it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So, all right. I got nothing else. We recapped it all.
Yeah.
Talked about it all.
We also got to like catch up with a bunch of people that was awesome, like you alluded to, and hopefully got some people we talked to line up some more podcasts moving forward. That
yeah, dude.
I feel pretty interested and excited about. So yeah.
Yeah. I was actually. I'll just say it here. You and I need to have a planning meeting of like, all right, who all do we need to talk to? What all do we want? What content do we want to make? We got to get ourselves organized here. So
yeah, I know Tim Fairbanks and Tim Jackson said they wanted to do one, and Andy Alfred said he would do one with the Commandant's own Marine Drum and Bugle Corps, and there was like a handful of other people. They were like, yeah, let's go.
So we gotta figure this out before Drum Corps gets in the midst of everything. Dude, that's like 2 months away already.
Dude, some people probably got camp next month. May. Yep, sometimes probably. You do move-ins at the end of May. I don't know how they're doing it now, but
I think tour starts July 1st, so they're cutting out those 2 weeks. 2 weeks of June. Well, so I think no one's moving. I think people are moving in June 1st instead of mid-May. Like they just cut 2 weeks out of the season. So you're still doing a month of move-ins, and then tour is just 2 weeks shorter.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. I think
just write shorter shows. You'll be able to clean it.
Even better.
If you cut 2 minutes off, great.
Yep. All right. That's a whole different discussion. We'll get into Drum Corps here soon. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Do you have anything else? I'm all
good.
Talked out.
I'm good, man.
All right. LoneStarPercussion.com, discount code aged out. Check out the YouTube channel if you're on podcast services or vice versa. Let us know in the comments what you think on social media. Send us a message, Facebook, Instagram. And we will see everybody in the next episode.
Peace.